What is going on, Multiversers? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Multiversus character poll series, otherwise known as the Yay or Nay series. If you're new and you're wondering how this works and you want to play along, feel free. All you got to do is tell me yay, you would like to see the character of the day that we're talking about in this video. Yay, you would like to see him in Multiversus as a playable character, or nay, you would not. So, pretty simple rules. Everyone gets to play along. But usually the way we start things off is by going over some possible attacks for the character's moveset, and the character, by the way, is Pennywise, the dancing clown from It. Now, this should be a fun, interesting character to, well, kind of dive into, see what he could bring to the table. So let's not waste any time, and let's start off with the first move, the first sort of attack, if you will. And the first one, I could imagine this being somewhat of it like a up special, a recovery type of move, and it's going to be, I don't know what you want to call it, the balloon liftoff. The balloons kind of like carry him up. So this one is from It Chapter 2, where he is sitting on that, what is that, like a Paul Bunyan statue or something, and he's got the whole handful of balloons, but Pennywise will use his iconic red balloons in a big bunch here. He holds on to the whole thing, and he just kind of floats upwards, so that's kind of the attack itself. This is how he gets back to the stage, if you will. So once he's off stage, if he's below it and you need to recover back upwards, well then, boom, hit this move and you got a ton of balloons. And I think to spice it up a little bit, what if, you know, the opponent attacks the balloons? Well, the balloons can start to pop, and it can like slow down at Pennywise's momentum moving upwards. So say he loses half his balloons or 75% of his balloons, whatever the number might be. Well, then he's not going to rise as fast, and he's not going to rise as high. So if the opponent can kind of mess with those balloons while he's recovering, well, it's going to mess with Pennywise's recovery. But still, it's just the way Pennywise can kind of float around the battlefield, off stage, whatever it might be. But yeah, the balloons will basically carry the crazed clown and kind of just make him feel like he's floating through the air. As for move number 2, something else that he does a lot in the movies and the novels and stuff like that is he kind of like bites and takes a big chunk out of people. So how about we just stick with him biting somebody? So for this attack, I got like a sort of lunging bite. Pennywise here, he'll kind of like maybe stretches his upper body, or maybe just his head kind of outwards, and all those razor sharp teeth will then, you know, be on display, and then he kind of takes just a big massive chomp forwards, you know, kind of like he's taking a bite out of, well, somebody. Except he doesn't actually take a bite. He's just doing a chomping motion, okay? So if, you know, the opponent happens to get caught in Pennywise's chomp, of course, they should take a good amount of damage and then, you know, get sent flying backwards or whatever it might be. But it's kind of one of Pennywise's things that we see him utilize or do somewhat all the time. Well, not even all the time, but we see him do it. So, I mean, it could work, right? So, again, his head maybe... He just kind of like, because he is also a shapeshifter, which we'll get into in just a second. But, you know, he can kind of like stretch his body, twist and contort and do all sorts of weird things. So maybe his head just kind of like leans forward a little bit, and then he tries to take a bite. Simple as that. Move number 3, we're going to go with, well, again, he's like a shapeshifter. And it does kind of play into this move, but I still got more on that for the next attack that we'll talk about. Before we get to that one, this one. I guess we'll call this one the Razor Claw, Razor Arms. He's got like, at one point, he transforms, we can see like his hand turn into like this really big claw. And we also see in a big fight towards one of the end of the movies where he has these giant, are they like spider legs or pincers or something like that? They're very sharp. So what if you use that as an idea for like a... Oh, I don't know. It could work as a forward smash-like attack. It could work like kind of like a maybe a side special where he's transforms his arms, or he morphs his arms into those bug arms, and then he just kind of does like a jumping forward slash with both arms or something like that. Or if you just want to go with the claw that his hand kind of morphs into, that could just be like a big swipe with just the hand itself. But like, again, he's a shapeshifter. You can change into all sorts of different things, which I think would be really fun, just kind of seeing him morph into this or that, or change, like for example, this attack just changes arms into something different and, well, make it so that whatever he morphs into is kind of causing the damage. So I guess, yeah, I don't know. What do we call it? The razor claws, a slash attack, a jumping slash. I don't know what to call it, but he transforms something and he does some sort of slashing. And then move number 4. Let's do shape shifting itself as an attack. Now, where I'm going with anybody that's played, I'll bring up Smash Bros. As an example. Old Zelda Sheik, if you played Smash Ultimate with Pyramithra, their down special, you swap into a different character, right? Or we could even take Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat. And Shang Tsung has an attack where he can transform into like any random character. Now, with Pennywise being a shapeshifter, what if Pennywise's down special was just that? He could transform into any playable character on the roster at random. It would be completely random as to, the character that's chosen. So if you're playing Pennywise and you hit down special and you transform, you could turn into Batman, for example. Or maybe you could even go from Pennywise into Shaggy, for example. So like anybody that's playable on the roster, you can change into. But how do you change back? Because these characters are going to have their own. Batman will have his own down special. Shaggy will have his own down special, So they won't have a way to change back for move-wise. But I think that's where you can maybe throw a timer on this attack. So Pennywise, when he transforms, say the timer lasts for 10, 20, 30 seconds, whatever you want to think is a reasonable time for this. I'll say 20 seconds as an example. So you hit down special, and for the next 20 seconds, if you transform into Batman, you will now be playing with Batman's moveset, his whole kit. You'll be basically playing as Batman for the next 20 seconds. And then once that timer runs out, you automatically, no matter what's happening, you could be in the middle of attacks, but you will transform back into Pennywise. Because again, Batman's down special for his actual character will be whatever Batman's down special is. Does that make sense? I think it does. But again, just kind of getting a little bit more into the shape-shifting part of Pennywise. Wouldn't it be kind of fun to, have a character that could transform into any other character? So if you're good with quite a few of them, you could really surprise your opponent, right? Come out as Pennywise, and then all of a sudden, boom, you transform, and you do transform into Batman, and you're actually a pretty good Batman player. Well, now, not only does your opponent have to worry about the Pennywise matchup, now you got to worry about the Batman matchup as well. So it's a little bit of a mind game, but also if you play Pennywise and you transform into a character that maybe you're not great as, it's a little bit risk and reward because, that's just how it works. But shape-shifting would be a very fun attack. Now, for the alternate costumes, this one I figured we could just kind of do an homage. We'll start with I guess this one wouldn't really be an alternate costume, but this would be, I would assume they would go with the most recent movie iteration of how Pennywise looks for probably a default costume. So you could just go with the new It movie character. When did those movies come? Like 2017, 18, somewhere around there. But the newer Pennywise, that could be like his default look. If you want an alternate costume, you could pay homage to the original Pennywise from the movie with the yellow and blue, the actual clown getup, and the more colorful clown outfit, I should say. I guess that would definitely work as a alternate costume. I'm not sure what else you could do with Pennywise. Maybe you could transform into maybe like a premium costume. Could be one of those. Oh man, I forget the name of it. There's stuff you can probably transform into, but you can't make him like. I don't think you could do a full transformation into Pennywise in his spider form, like when he actually has the spider legs towards the end of It Chapter 2. That was It Chapter 2, wasn't it? I think it was. But you can't have, you can't really change Pennywise's character, his model too much, right? You can't go from 2 legs to all of a sudden he's got 8 different legs, because that's going to mess with move animation, moves, the attacks themselves. So you got to be careful with what he transforms into. But, as long as it seems to fit, why not throw it in there? As for the yay or nay portion of the video, now for my opinion, you guys have probably answered yourselves already. But Pennywise, I'm going to give him a yay. I think he would be a very fun addition. Again, shape-shifting, and purely as I'm looking at him as a character that brings something unique to the table. A character that transforms into other characters that are already on the roster, that could make for very fun. I'll be honest, I'm a fan of like Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat. Maybe I'm not the greatest with the character, but I always liked that appeal to the character, right? You never know. You get something random. Maybe it's somebody you're pretty good at, like I said, but it is what it is. I'm going to give Pennywise a yay. Let me know what you guys got down in the comments. That is probably going to wrap it up for today. We should be doing this again next weekend, and we should have the updated stats next weekend, right? Was I supposed to do them this weekend? If I was supposed to, I don't think I was. No, we'll have the new episode next weekend, updated yay or nay stats as well next weekend, and well, that's next weekend. Today's wrapping up. Hope you guys enjoyed as always, and I guess I'll see ya when I'm looking at ya.